Hello yogis. This class is going to be a level 1-2 Hatha style, focused on skill in squat variations. So Utkatasana or chair pose is a version of squat, Malasana is a deeper version of squat, and even Warrior 1 and Warrior 2 have one leg in a half squat. So bringing some intelligence and varied load into those positions can kind of make the hips strong and capable in many, many ways. You will need 2 blocks and you may need a strap. And if you are still working on balance or you have trouble even touching the blocks in forward folds, then standing forward folds, then you may need a chair or a wall nearby. So just be aware, and I will give options as those things come. Grab your block and bring it to between your thighs. Put it between your thighs. Sometimes yoga teachers get lost in the word salad. Put the block between your thighs. Squeeze the block and have your feet roughly parallel to each other. Keep squeezing the block as you start to bend your knees and send your butt back. So trying to keep the weight in the heels, keeping the heels firmly planted on the floor. Maybe the block there allows you to get the butt a little bit deeper. With your arms out in front of you, kind of counterbalances you. You can keep them there, or bring your arms overhead, Utkatasana. Now, as you are here, your legs are undoubtedly talking to you, but see if you can make this more about lifting, using your abdominals and lifting your torso up and out of your hips. So as you sink the hips deeper, can you get that sense of lifting your body out? Breathe deeply all the way down to the pelvic floor. And then drive into your heels and come to standing. Okay, set the block aside. So being able to squeeze the block teaches us to engage the pelvic floor in the squat, which in turn kind of balances the forces across the pelvis as we work. So now that you have gotten in touch with that feeling, I want you to see if you can find that even without the block between your knees. So again, heels hip distance, feet roughly parallel. On your inhale, sink your butt back. It's like as if you could corkscrew your feet into the floor as you are bending, as you are squatting low. See if you can find the engagement of the pelvic floor as if you were squeezing the block between your thighs. Okay, now bring your weight into your right foot. Try to stay as deep in the squat as you can and just lift the left knee away from the floor. And then return to Utkatasana, and then bring your weight to the left foot and try to just hug the right thigh in towards you. Deep in your squat, lift the left foot off the floor. Deep in your squat, lift the right foot off of the floor. We'll do 2 more each side. Ooh, yeah. I did say this was a squat class. Lift the right foot, deep in. Maybe you notice that you're getting a little deeper each time. The right foot. Deep in the squat, arms overhead maybe for a breath. And then drive into your heels. I'm just standing. Okay, grab one of your blocks again. So that was a little bit of a, if you noticed, when you went to lift one foot, likely your pelvis shifted a little bit to accommodate the shift in load. And that's fine. We do that all the time in transitions in yoga. Let's get a little smarter about it, okay? So put the block on your mat. Stand so that actually let's use 2 blocks just to make this a little more efficient. We can do both sides. Okay, so stand in front of your blocks. And again, corkscrew your feet into the floor. Sink your butt back. Inhale, come to Utkatasana. Now bring your weight into your left foot. And you're going to step your right toes onto the block that's behind the right foot. Now, trying to keep both knees tracking straight forward, just rock your weight back and drive your heel into the block under the right foot. And then come to standing. Ooh. And then rebend through the right knee, set the left foot on the floor, and return to Utkatasana in front of the blocks. Press to stand. We're going to go side to side for a few of these. So Utkatasana, inhale. Weight into the right foot. Ball the left foot on the block. Staying really low through the hips, keeping the knees tracking straight forward. Just tip your weight back and drive your left heel into the block. Push into that heel, come to standing. Bend again through the left knee, trying to track it straight forward. Place the right foot on the floor. Step the left foot on the floor, sink the butt, Utkatasana. Inhale, come back to standing. Inhale. Step the right foot back. Rock your weight back. Drive into the heel to stand. Sink through the right butt. Through the right butt. I don't know. And step the left foot back, keeping the hips low. Drive the heel into the floor, into the block. Stand. Bend through the left knee. Set the right foot down. Come back to squat. Inhale. Exhale, stand. Inhale. Bring the weight to the left foot. Step the right foot back. Drive the heel into the block. Stand. Sink deep through the right hip. Step the left foot down. Step the right foot down. Inhale. On the next inhale, Utkatasana. Step back with the left foot. Drive the heel in. Stand. Bend deep through the left knee, left hip. Right foot down. Left foot down. Inhale. Exhale, stand. Let's do one more each side. Inhale, Utkatasana. Right foot back. Stay low in the hips. Drive through the right heel, stand. Squat through the right heel, right hip. I have to stop talking. Inhale, Utkatasana. Left foot back. Drive into the left heel. Stand. Bend into the left hip. Right foot down. Sink the hips, Utkatasana. And stand. And then spin your left toes in about 45 degrees and your right toes out 90 degrees. Bend deeply through the right knee. Notice, if your knee's way out over your toes, just take a wider stance. Bring your arms out to a T and sink your left inner thigh towards the floor to even your pelvis out with the floor. There's a tendency to kind of do one of these. Don't do that. Sink your left hip towards the floor. Take a couple breaths here. Warrior two. Now see if you can find the connection between your right heel and your right hip. Can you feel the feeling of wrapping your right outer hip underneath you? And can you generate that force using the heel on the floor? Now bring your right forearm to your right thigh and reach over with your left hand and find your block. Now you can have the block on the highest level. For some of the foam blocks, that's not very stable. The medium level, the low level, or you may be able to bring your hand all the way to the floor. Okay, so I invite you to make your choice there. Press the left hand into the floor, drive into the right heel, and pull your left foot off of the floor. Now, you're going to sneak your left foot through and forward and sit down. And we're going to rehearse that a couple of times. So push into the left hand. So you may be way up here, okay? And then that would look like push into the hand and the right heel. So use the right hip. Don't make it all about the hand on the block. And come back to a warrior two stance. Okay? Drive into your left hand. Pick your left foot up. Sit down and through. Maybe each time, drive into the right heel. Come back to warrior two. Maybe each time you lower the block a little bit and see what you can handle. And then back. Maybe you try no block. Ooh, a little tougher. Find yourself seated. Hug your right shin in. Sit up nice and tall. So find your blocks and set one towards the front of your mat where you'll be able to reach it if your feet were standing kind of roughly where they are now. And have the other block in your hands. Pulling your knees out to the sides as if you could pull them away from your elbows. Drive into your heels and stand. Okay. Place the block in your right hand flat. Lift the block overhead and look up at the block. Now, keeping the block overhead, you're going to have to rotate, internally rotate probably at the shoulder as you come down, but pull the knees out to the sides and start to bend your knees and come towards malasana. And see how my shoulder wants to internally rotate to keep the block up there as I come down. And that's kind of, allow that, that's fine. And then drive into the heels, pulling the knees out to the sides, lift the block back to the top. Okay, switch hands. Left hand overhead, look up at the block. Look at the block the entire time. Pull the knees out to the sides as you squat. And then drive into the heels, come to standing. We'll do 2 more each side. Right hand, squat, drive up. Left hand, keep looking at the block. Try to get the butt as low as possible. Try not to let the knees cave to the midline. So keep pulling the knees out to the sides as you squat. Last one. Okay, and then bring the block to both hands and just bring yourself down to malasana. Set the block at the front of the mat. And then try to do this without touching the floor. Come up part way, step up onto the block, and drive into the right heel. Come up to warrior 3. Have your hands in prayer at your heart, or you may want to have your fingertips on the block, or even a chair if this is feeling like the block is very far away or you feel unstable here. But try to find a connection between the right heel and the right hip, lifting the left leg, spinning the left toes to the midline, left heel out. Inhale here. Exhale, get the crown of your head as if you could push it to the front of your mat. Okay, and then if you don't already have it, find your block with your right hand. Bend a little bit through the left knee and just start to stack your left hip on top of your right hip. So your hand is on your block and extend your left arm to the ceiling. So stay lifted, find the outer left hip, be strong and straight through both legs. See if you can open your chest, open your hip a little bit more. For me, a nice thought is as if I could take my right inner thigh and push it forward. That helps me to stack the hips. Breathe. Okay, now you may need to put a little bit of a bend in your right knee, and that's fine. Start to bring your left leg out in front of your face. What? Just try. It may be closer to the floor, that's fine. But try to keep it lifted. And then start to bend deeper through the right knee. Square your hips to the front of the mat. Maybe start to sink a little deeper. Oh, that right butt cheek's talking to you. And then bend the left knee and see if you can bring the left knee to behind the right ankle. Hold, breathe. And then step way back, and you're going to open up to warrior 2 with your front foot on the block. Notice the difference. Sink into your right knee. Sink your left hip towards the floor. Breathe. And start to straighten through your right leg, and you're going to have to spin the right foot on the block, maybe lifting the toes towards the ceiling. Spin your left heel in a little bit, left toes out. Start to bend through the left knee. This is called skandasana. It's a little bit different with your foot on the block. Reach your arms forward to counterbalance your body. You can have your fingertips on the floor if you need to. Breathe. Maybe trying to sink the hips a little bit deeper. Stay strong and straight through the right leg. Pulling the left knee out to the left. Don't allow it to cave. And then drive into the left heel. Return to the front of your mat. And you can either grab your block and use it for the left hand, or maybe you can reach the floor with the left hand. Square your hips with the mat. Push down into the left hand and open up for the twist. Pulling your right hip back. Squeezing your inner thighs to the midline. Try to pull the left shoulder out of your ear. And then turn to face the mat. Maybe placing both fingertips down, maybe doing this without any fingertips. Drive into the right heel. Step your left foot next to the block. Step off of the block with the right foot. Come back down to malasana. Inhale here. Exhale. Take a deep inhale. Exhale.